Hello, everyone. My name is Kira Kellinger, and I'm a Client Success Manager here at Lux Sales Consulting. I'm here with Lindsay Murray, a financial advisor from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And Lindsay, you've been able to do some really impressive things with us, and I'd like you to introduce yourself, who you specialize in, and what you do.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lindsay Murray, and as Kira said, I'm in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. So a bit of a time change from Kira, but the Zoom era allows us to be able to do this. So I am a financial advisor, professional planner, whatever you like to call it now. And I specialize predominantly, like my clientele is social workers and social service workers, because that is my background. I used to work in both of those areas, still work somewhat in those areas in order to help certain vulnerable populations in the community. But this is a way that I can help the people who help those populations by achieving their financial goals. So that is my focus. And another focus of mine was to look for sales professionals who might be interested in a secondary stream of income during this financial time that we're going through, with a lot of change in the world after being shut down for so long and dealing with this pandemic. So that's what I am focusing on right now. Two streams, two different ideas, but it's going very well.
Right. So you're helping two different people, kind of two different niches.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you originally came to us, you had been prospecting, taking calls with kind of all kinds of people, wasting a little bit of time. And you wanted to eventually hire someone and kind of build out this side of your business. And actually, you've been able to generate 24 meetings in your first month of launching. So can you talk to us about how are those problems now? How has the prospecting changed for you?
Yeah, so I mean, initially I was spending a lot of time scheduling posts for like a whole month, and I would tell my husband I have to go downstairs and create content, and which wasn't generating much, but I wanted everyone to know that I was out there and, this is what I do. Because when you start in this industry, a lot of people are like, oh, like you might phase out, whatever. And I was like, no, I'm not going to phase out. Everyone needs to know who I am. And I was doing that a lot. I was cold calling. I was like looking for referrals and having meetings with people who were just not great. So then now, like in my first month, it took a little bit of like tweaking, of course, in the first month, but 24 calls. Some of them were longer calls, it just depended, but I was able to get 24 people on these calls, which has come to fruition now. Right now, I think I only post a couple of times a month, and it's usually like successes or testimonials or things that I hear from clients, but I don't need to take the time to necessarily even spend 4 hours, 5 hours doing all of this, because I always have people booked for the next week. And then if they do have to reschedule, I get them booked for the week after, or people who had to reschedule in December just because of holidays, then it filled my whole January. So, and I still have other people, coming in down the pipeline saying, yep, let's hop on a call, let's chat. So I don't have to do a lot of that. Of course, like these people I don't necessarily know. So it is speaking to people that are new, but I've been able to kind of perfect the quick 15-minute call and keep it clear and concise and be able to tell them what I do. So whereas before I found I hadn't perfected that, and it took so long to have conversations with people and a lot of social media posting, a lot of putting myself out there. And now I just go about my day doing my job, and I have multiple appointments a day. And if I feel like posting, I'll post. And if not, I don't have to.
That is amazing. So you go out about your day. I love that. And you have meetings, for that week, for the next week. So in your first month, it was 24 meetings, right? And that was November, a couple months ago. So what are the results so far? And I know you're building your pipeline for months to come, kind of based on the conversations you're having now, but tell us about the results of who have you been able to kind of bring on board, either on your book or as a recruit?
Yeah. So November was kind of like perfecting skills month for me and getting people on the follow-up call. I was able to get pretty much everyone on a follow-up call. And so the follow-up calls, a lot of the times, some of them were in November, but then a lot were in December. And now at the end of December, I was able to close 2 of those clients, like people I did not know who trusted me with their finances, which most of my clients now are family or friends, and a couple of people I didn't know, but being able to like work with the cold market and people I don't know, I was able to close 2 clients. At the end of December, I was able to get a recruit. So someone from the sales industry definitely wanted a secondary source of income and something new, and they saw how lucrative the financial industry is. And so she hopped on my team, which is amazing, as that's the goal, is to kind of have passive income and people who are doing the same thing that I'm doing. So I was able to do that in January, even more so. I've already had a close this week, and I'll have 2 more by the end of January. And then February is already looking booked up with a lot of closings. So starting that in November has just like filled my pipeline for now. And everything that I'm doing, intro calls that I'm doing now, will then fill my pipeline for March, fill my pipeline for April, as I also provide the educational value. So that takes a little bit of time, and then life happens, people reschedule. So
right. Yeah. Well, Lindsay, that's awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about what you had told me before? So your pipelines, one is going to recruit, one is going to prospecting, and you've had to keep them, separated and not confused, right? But actually, with a little trick, you've been able to kind of do something magical with everyone you meet. Can you tell us about those salespeople that you turned to, clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So any call that I get on with people who are interested in, going into the financial industry or just having a secondary source of income that can then lead to a primary source of income if that's what they choose to do. But in these trying times, especially in a lot of sales jobs, like people are losing their jobs or not making commissions because people aren't spending as much money. So being able to target that audience was helpful. And everyone, not everyone, but a large amount of them are interested in hearing about a secondary source of income. So there was 2 in particular that were very interested in learning about a secondary source of income, and they still are on the fence, are not entirely sure if they're wanting to necessarily get licensed and do that whole process because they have families. But I was able to tell them what I do on the client side of things, explain to them that I provide a complimentary How Money Works session, and we go over your financial goals and dreams, so that it's kind of like a bit of an exercise for them to go through, because not everyone thinks about their financial goals or dreams very often. And so we go over that. Plus, I always provide proper solutions based on their budget, and explain those solutions or suggestions through and through, while providing time to answer those questions. Whereas, like, that's how I differ from a bank. Many banks don't offer up this type of service. So once I told them that that is how I do business, and if they're on the fence about joining the business, it would be nice for them to hop on a call with me to learn how we service our clients, so that they know what they should bring to the table if they if they decide to do this part-time. But also confirmed that they didn't work with financial advisors, and both of them see the value in exactly what I do, and I'm closing them next week. So they will be clients and ideally recruits later on.
Yeah. So you did this with, it sounds like, trust, education, just, I don't know, some kind of perfect secret sauce where you know how to speak in that language of who you're meeting with, kind of coming from both industries. So knowing the problems that they may have and how to fill them. Yeah,
Yep.
that's great, Lindsay. So I do have one more question for you. Um, just because you're finding so much success here. So what would you say to someone who was on the edge of kind of investing in themselves in this way and changing their business around? Yeah, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, so even for myself, like when I was doing all of that prospecting and um, taking a lot of time to post on social media, I had email campaigns, I had everything going out. I had a marketing advisor that told me what to do, and I still was like not producing nearly as much as what I needed to produce to even make this necessarily worthwhile. And I just remember ads popping up and me looking into different options and realizing that, okay, this is going to be an investment that is going to be expensive. Um, However, like I want to hear about it. I want to know. And so for me at that point, I was willing to take the risk because um, like the conversations that I had with Lux and just hearing about all of these success stories, I was like, okay, well, if all else fails, I've invested in myself and my business, and I'm already not doing what I want to do. So this sounds like it's going to actually help me. And I'm glad that I really took the leap. At first, I was like, I don't know, like this is taking, I got to watch videos and I'm not sure, but the videos were all made total sense, and everything was super conducive and just very informative, and the way the process works makes total sense. I was initially confused, but as I went through, it made total sense. So if anyone's on the fence about this, it was an amazing investment. It's for life, and I'll already have a return on investment in a few months, and that was my goal. It was like just return on investment, and then I can just keep this software for life and keep changing things up and focusing on different niches. And I liked that this stays with me. Plus, you can have, if you have your spouse going into it, they can be added to this as well, which is amazing. So I'm happy that I jumped on board, and I would recommend it for anybody else. Especially with the supports and the videos and the guidance, plus 24 meetings a month is really helpful to your business.
Amazing. So your longer term goal is just that, where you bring your husband on, you recruit
Mhm.
enough people, and you're working part-time now. Can you tell me how close we are to that, or closer than the
Yeah.
beginning, right?
Yeah. So my goal is to guarantee that I can at least supplement my income completely. And at this point, that should happen by June. Um, and if I can, supplement even more of my income ongoing. Plus, the idea is to have teammates. And so that's residual income right then and there. So I'm not always having to be the one to um, seek out work and clients and prospects. And Ulink is amazing for that. However, I don't want to always have to rely on that all of the time. So the having those recruits, that's why the second stream is for teammates, so that they can get on my team and there's residual income all around, and my husband on my team as well. So ideally by June, I'll have the income stream coming in continually to be able to make that happen.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Lindsay, you're inspiring me. This is going to inspire so many people, hopefully women watching too in the financial industry. And
Mhm.
thanks so much for joining me today and sharing your story.
No problem. Thank you for having me.